I chair the committee. We have a team of clerks that support us.
Good morning, Chair members. My name is Chris Pastima, Committee Clerk.
Kibet Kevin, Committee Clerk.
Michelle Otoro, Legal Counsel.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Kanze Charo, Research Officer.
Good morning. My name is Shalim Simbi, Hansard Officer.
Mathias Muso, Intern.
Good morning, John Lekampule, Sergeant Trams.
There's an intern behind there.
Imran Mohammed, Legal Services Intern.
That's from us, Chairman.
You are welcome. We go to the Office of the Auditor General.
Good morning, Chair and members. I'm Ricky Patrick, the liaison officer. Chair, we have a team from our Mombasa regional office who are also in charge of the audit of Kwale and Taita Taveta, but they're today here for Mombasa. With the permission, they can come on record.
Thank you, Chair and members. My name is Leonard Opar, the Director of Audit, Mombasa Regional Office.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Samuel Obonyo, Mombasa Regional Office.
That's all, Chairman.
You are welcome, OAG, ESCC.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Christine Mweu from ESCC. Thank you.
Karibu, we usually have the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya and the Control of Budget. They will be joining us in due course. So we will go to the visiting delegation. Did we invite the County Assembly of Mombasa?
Yes, Chairman. We invited them, but they have not come. Okay,
in that case, we will proceed to the County Executive. Even though I've been in this country for some time, and there's someone here who looks like the Speaker of the County Assembly. So, are you here as part of Senator Faki's delegation, or you are here for the purpose of the Public Accounts Committee? I'm part of the Senator Faki delegation. Okay. Senator Faki,
yes.
Separation of separation of powers. But anyway, that's. I mean, if the Speaker was here formally, then we would acknowledge him formally. But he has a right to be here. He's a member of the public, so he has a right to be here, even if he does not go on record formally. So, Senator Faki, we were doing the introductions. Just go on record.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. And assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Nairobi, Governor and your team. I found the Speaker within the premises. That's why I brought him here.
No, you don't need to disown him.
Senator Mombasa County and friend of the committee. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Chair, I was wondering if the Speaker is part of Senator Faki's delegation. He could properly be seated behind Senator Faki.
No. Well, I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the Senate and the county assemblies to have a relationship, and there's nothing wrong about that. Governor, please go on record.
Thank you very much, Chair. Abdulswamad Sharif Nasir, Governor of Mombasa. Maybe I allow the team to be able to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Evan Swanda. I'm the CC for Finance and Economic Planning.
Morning, Chair. I'm Swali Mwalizuma, the Chief Officer for Finance, County Government of Mombasa.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatma Nabhan, Advisor to the Governor on ICT. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Joshua Otieno, the Principal Accountant.
Good morning. My name is Bishara Mohammed, Accountant.
Good morning. My name is Dalton Mwagogo, Chairman of Audit Committee.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Makoha Murunga, Assistant Director of Finance.
Good morning. My name is Idris Mbaruk, accountant.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zahra Sharif Ahmed, accountant.
Good morning. My name is Ali Omar, accountant.
Good morning. My name is Nicholas Mochiru, Head of Internal Audit, Mombasa County Executive.
Good morning, I'm Nurawad,
I know they're introducing
accountant.
themselves, but you're not able to see them. Maybe it's good you just stand.
Good morning, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatma Yusuf, accountant.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Omar Abdallah, Supply Chain Management.
Good morning, Ayub Ridwan, Director. Finance Officer, sorry.
Good morning, Assalamu alaikum. Joan Jeroge, Administrator from the Governor's Office.
Good morning, Abdurrahman Abdallah, Personal Assistant to the Governor.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Harub Khatri, Speaker, Mombasa County Assembly.
Is that it for the visiting delegation? If that is the case, then we shall proceed very quickly to the next agenda item, which will be administration of oath and tabling of documents.
I, Abdulswamad Sharif Nasir, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Anything I'm meant to sign?
No, just read. From here.
Chair, I hereby table the following documents before the committee: management responses and accompanying annexures on the report of the Auditor General for the County Executive of Mombasa for the year 24-25, management responses and accompanying annexures on the report of the Auditor General on the receiver of revenue statements for the County Executive for the same year of 24-25, and management responses and annexures on the report of the Auditor General on the County Revenue Fund for the County Executive of Mombasa for the financial year 24-25.
Auditor General, could you confirm that the responses that have been tabled, you've been able to review?
Thank you, Chair. Can confirm that the responses were delivered to our offices on 28th May, and they were in the form and the manner that is prescribed, and we have been able to review the same, so we propose that the meeting can proceed.
Okay, Clerk of the Senate, is the entity in compliance?
Yes, Chairman, you can confirm that the entity submitted the documents within the timelines.
Okay, if that is the case, we will proceed, but we'll have to deal with one preliminary matter. When we sent the invitation to the Governor of Mombasa, we also indicated the resolution of the Senate. Because you did not find an opportunity to appear before this committee before the constitutional deadline of 31st of March, the Senate adopted the report of the Auditor General in its entirety. The Senate resolved that you would appear before this committee within a period of 30 days to furnish us with an update on the measures you are taking to implement the observations or recommendations of the Auditor General. The committee or the House further resolved to impose a fine of 500,000 Kenya shillings for failure to honor summons where you are supposed to appear before this committee on 30th of March ahead of the constitutional deadline. I want to find out from the Clerk of the Senate whether we, in our records, we have evidence that the fine has been paid.
Chairman, thank you, Chairman. We have received, today this morning, we have received a copy of the banker's check from the county executive, that's from the governor, dated 4th June, of a banker's check addressed to the Senate, in favor of the Senate. So we can confirm that the payment has been made.
So there's a banker's check that has been addressed to the clerk?
Yes, there's a banker's check addressed to the clerk of the Senate.
I think in our letter communicating the fine, we had given a 2-week limit for settlement of the fine. But now that the clerk confirms that there's evidence that the fine has been paid, I think members, we do not need to belabor the point. We can take it that the governor has paid the fine, and we can now proceed with our substantive meeting. Now, we have 3 reports to deal with. We have the report of the county executive, the report of the county revenue fund, and the report of the receiver of revenue. In our earlier brief with the Auditor General, we realized that there was a little problem in terms of the report that was tabled for the county executive. You might have noted, maybe your technical people may have noted, that the report of the county executive, page 1 and page 2 of the auditor's certificate referred to the receiver of revenue rather than to the county executive. And so, having reviewed that, we have found that it might not be very possible or very tenable for us to consider the report on the executive on account of that. I think it's a document management problem. When the Auditor General tabled the certificate, there was a mix-up on page 1 and page 2. Now, as you understand parliamentary practice, we cannot now use another document which was not tabled. They have the correct one, but since it was not tabled formally, we might not be able to rely on it because the affected parts are the qualifying issues to the financial statements. Because if you go by it, it will appear as if there was only one qualifying issue, and yet in the real report, there were about 6 or 7. As a result, having gone through that, we have agreed with the Auditor General that it is possible to deal with the receiver of revenue as we correct that problem on the county executive. So today, we will deal with the report of the receiver of revenue, which is not small because it's you had a 6.9 billion budget on that. And if we spend 1 or 2 hours or 1 hour or less on the receiver of revenue, then we'll schedule a separate date to deal with the county executive once we retable the right report to the Senate. So as agreed, honorable members, we will start with the report of the receiver of revenue. Governor, I can see you are itching to say something.
No, I'm not itching, but in the spirit of fair administrative justice as well, if I was fined 500,000 shillings because I was not present, is someone taking responsibility for the fact that they did not table the documents the way they were meant to be tabled? Because even that 500,000, I had to, Faki helped me with some money, and the speaker, I'll bet he helped me a bit late, and some of my staff members were changa hapa. That's why today morning is when we were able to pay that 500,000.
Chair, just before.
Senator,
I think, Governor, that is a very dangerous path because the Senate requires that money comes from your pocket. You are admitting that we should refund the people who have contributed that money to you so that we get money from you. Secondly, the good thing with you is that
if they give it to me, it's mine.
Just a minute.
Let's allow Senator Sifuna to.
Only the good thing is the governor has been a member of parliament. He has chaired committees similar to these ones. The consequences of failure to appear to the committee are in the standing orders. So I would want you, in your vast experience as a parliamentarian, that request that you've made, which standing order are you anchoring it on, or which law?
Chair, Senator Sifuna is asking me to wear a role that I once wore. over the years, from the time that I was a member of parliament, an enabled member of parliament, and a seasoned member of parliament, and a seasoned chair, standing orders changed. But if given the opportunity, I don't mind actually going back and rereading those standing orders. But I am aware, and one of the things that has changed in Parliament as well is the Public Investment Committee was split into three. Standing orders were actually changed during our time. CSs were not appearing. And when you do an amendment, a certain section that was once section 1A could end up being section 1C. And since we're on camera here, allow me not to be able to indulge on something that, but I don't mind. I can actually go back.
Dealing with the division of revenue and allocation of revenue and the money that comes to counties. And the Senate has insisted that counties must get 454 billion, a position that we hold firmly. So just to settle this matter so that we get into the report, the 500,000 shilling fine was imposed because you were found to be in contempt of Parliament. It is not because you didn't provide some document here and there, but we invited you specifically on 30th of March this year. You failed to appear without any justifiable reason. Some of your colleagues came. Governor Orengo was here, Governor Turukana was here, and a few others. We did not find them. So that fine is on account of contempt. I think the other matter is administrative, and we do understand that sometimes the problem can be on the part of the governor, sometimes the problem can be on the part of the auditor, sometimes it can be on the part of the Senate. So let's proceed. Let's not reopen the issue of the fine because it has now been settled.
I'm totally in agreement, Chair, and I want to appreciate the support of the Senate on devolution itself. The fact that the proposed equitable share, the revenue share for counties should be at 454. I want to also go on record, Chair, because this is something that is going to be picked up after next financial year as well. One of the major issues that is going to be a topic, and we hope that that is not what is going to happen, is the issue of UHC staff. Failure for UHC staff to be absorbed and their money to be as part of equitable share, there is going to be a challenge, Chair, because then those staff will have to be hired based on the fact that if it is conditional grants, they'll only be able to be hired based on that period, because not all counties can be able to afford a total cumulative figure for all counties would be 8.9 billion shillings. Not a subject for today, but I just wanted to state it on record that I appreciate the support that the Senate has been able to put forward on matters of devolution.
Senator Sifuna?
Chair, the last we had of this matter as the Senate was that the Council of Governors had reached an agreement with the Treasury. I think there was even indication by the national government that funds had been set aside in the current budget. Are you saying that was not the case, Governor?
No. What I'm saying is there's funds can be able to be set aside in two ways. They can be either in equitable share or they can be as conditional grants.
Yes.
If they're not going to be as equitable share, what is going to happen? Because anything can happen. A conditional grant does not mean that that is going to be the status. Now, if an employee is going to be employed on permanent and pensionable, and the revenue that you're receiving is only pegged on that one financial year, the danger that is there is next financial year, if in the wisdom of Treasury or in the wisdom of Parliament that conditional grant should not be there, then there's going to be a danger. Those people are going to, their budget is not going to be available. So it is important for that figure. I speak one, as the Governor of Mombasa, two, as the Chair of the Health Committee of the Council of Governors, because this is something that is going to pop up. And our hope is that once the mediation has already been agreed on, and I think that one of the reasons why Senate has also proposed the figures to be at 454 is to be able to take into consideration that we have UHC staff, that money should not fall under conditional grants. As much as it has been allocated, the art and the act of how it was allocated, whether it is a conditional grant or it was part of equitable share, will have a huge bearing on the lives of those UHC doctors.
Now, Governor, there is a flip side, and help us understand, because we want to help the UHC staff. There have been many protests outside of our parliament here by those UHC staff. One of the problems we have with county governments is that when resources are not ring-fenced for a specific purpose, you find that you now will prioritize other things. If you ask the UHC workers themselves, they would want that money be clear that it is for UHC staff, so that we don't hear that you have decided, because when it comes as equitable share, you will decide that you want to do the stadium in Mombasa. So we have struggled as a Senate, for instance, on the question of pending bills, Senator. And in fact, there has been a conversation in the Senate that because this problem has persisted so long, Governor, and you guys are not at you guys, you as a council are not offering us a way out in terms of how we deal with this scourge of pending bills. We as a Senate have gotten to a place where we feel we should pay those contractors ourselves, those pending bills ourselves, because we release money, we pass motions, we even passed a motion setting timetables for clearance of pending bills, but it continues to persist. So how would you persuade skeptics such as myself who believe that governors and county governments, we feel we must tie your hands even further? That if money is for payment of CHPs, it has to go to CHPs, you cannot divert it to your milk program. If it is for payment of pending bills, let it be for pending bills. So how would you persuade us as the chair?
Maybe, Governor, before you respond, Senator Faki.
For answers, recently we had a motion to deduct funds from the county government of Meru for purposes of paying one of the legal charges for a pending bill. And members felt that it was only being done because he was a foreigner. But they also said that it is now time that we also do the same to our local contractors. I know pending bills of Mombasa are about 5 billion at the moment. Yeah, so we are thinking that that is the way to go, that the Treasury deducts some money and then pays directly the pending bills, instead of the current situation where the county government is given a free hand to choose which ones to pay, which ones not to pay. And I will agree with Senator Sifuna that when we were dealing with this DORA bill, the issue of the 8.5 billion for the CHP workers featured. And we are of the opinion that this money should be ring-fenced so that we are able to monitor that it goes directly to the CHPs, rather than just lumping it together with the equitable share, and then the county government chooses which ones to pay, which ones not to pay. Thank you.
And Governor, I wish the documents were all in order so that we could have been able to look at even your pending bills in this report, because this report indicated that 77% of your debt was older than 3 years. 77%. That was 2.9 billion out of a total of 3.8 billion. And it also indicated that out of the 3.8 billion, 1.2 billion was owed to staff. I think that's statutory deductions or pensions and all that. It's a very untidy picture. And that's why maybe Senator Sifuna is saying if we were to increase, because at 454 billion, our draft CARA is going to give Mombasa 9.2 billion. I think this year you got 7.9 billion. Was it 7.9 billion? Sorry? 8.3 was 25-26, or 25, the current financial year. Yes. The year that we are reviewing, you got 7.9, then you got 8.3, and we are proposing that you get 9.2 billion. So, Senator Sifuna, perhaps to paraphrase, how do you ensure that that 9.2 billion or that extra 1.3 billion goes to settle the equivalent amount owed to staff, which is 1.3 billion?
First and foremost, and I say this with a lot of, I want to state this, it is not about Mombasa being extra smart or anything else, but we have a good team, the team that I am able to work with. One, from the time of assuming office, we have never defaulted in paying any staff. And even when we pay simultaneously with all deductions, from money that is due to the pensions, to money that is due to all the others, to the unions, everything is paid simultaneously, to all the statutory deductions and all. Do we have issues that are historic? Because even when you say that there's money that is due, that is employees' money, some of this money was historic from the time of municipal times. What is it that we are doing about it? As much as we are currently paying all our employees on time, and we are doing the statutory deductions on time, this can be attested not necessarily by myself, but it can be attested from the county pension fund, from the lab trust, from KRA, from the housing levy, and everyone else that we are meant to be paying. But we've also been in conversation with the county pension fund. We've been in conversation with the lab trust. We made a payment to the lab trust. As a matter of fact, we have reduced. There were people whose gratuity had not been paid from the time I was in high school. Some of them have even passed on. And we have reduced all that level of gratuity. If I'm not right now we are at which year? We have reduced from all the way from the 80s, we are currently at 2023. So as we are paying everyone, we are also reducing on an aging analysis. Though that is now on issues to do with staff. On issues to do with the CHPs, again, Mombasa first of all started paying CHPs. It was a decision we took to pay CHPs before even there was the national government arrangement to be able to work on this. Are there counties that have not followed suit? By all means, yes. There are counties, but are there many? No. There are a small minority of counties that have not been able to follow suit on this. The issues of putting money like UHC and the CHPs, we're the ones who are dealing with the CHPs on a day-to-day basis. What happens is they get their stipend from the county government, then they have to wait for national government, whether national government will be able to pay them on time or not on time. If there's an error of a telephone number, if someone has shifted, if someone has passed away, by the time that information is done, there's already a loophole where there are some payments that are already would have already been done. And sometimes people are paid in arrears. There was a time they were paid a couple of months in arrears because they had not been paid prior. So the argument is, why don't we have one pocket to be able to pay? Even for the CHPs, it's not a problem. It can actually come in as a conditional grant. Because if it comes in as a conditional grant, the money for the CHPs, it is put into a joint account where then it is now dispersed, where you cannot be able to spend that money until you put in a matching amount. That is something that has been done previously. But for the UHC staff, let me state it here, Chair. If you put that money for the UHC staff as a conditional grant, what that means basically is next year, it is conditions precedence on whether government will be of the opinion, of the view, that yes, we need to be able to continue giving. And the agreement that is there is that these UHC staff are meant to be hired on a permanent and pensionable basis. So if you provide funding to pay their salaries for 1 year, and then counties have gone and absorbed them on permanent and pensionable, and then the year after, someone says that no, we should not be paying this conditional grant anymore, there are counties that are going to, on the flip side of things, there are counties that are going to be in quite a problem. Collectively, these figures just for the UHC staff is 8.9 billion. Unless, of course, the conditional grants come in, and then in the wisdom of Parliament and in the wisdom of Treasury, by the way, this is not even an argument by ourselves. This is an argument that the Ministry of Health actually wrote to the Commission for Revenue Allocation, indicating that when they are doing their proposal on what should be the revenue and the equitable share, they did do this. There's a letter that was done by the Ministry of Health indicating that they need to include that 8.9 billion first.
Now, Governor, you have a lot of background on this as a chair of the Health Committee. I think let's come back to the numbers, but we hear you. Your contribution will guide us when we are making our debate on the matter. We thought that ring fencing it would be to give hope to the UHC workers. We've thought that ring fencing, we must find a way of ring fencing an allocation for settlement of pending bills, but we are also aware that budgeting is the domain of the county assembly. And perhaps what Senate can do is to make certain recommendations to the county assemblies that now that we have increased the allocation to Mombasa County, perhaps you need to prioritize this 3 billion that has been outstanding for over 3 years. I think we cannot direct the assembly. We can only advise the assembly on that.
Chair, I love the concept of actually ring fencing for purposes of paying pending bills. In fact, this is a proposal that I sent a very, very long time. I did this proposal the first year I was in office to Treasury. But I think the whole concept itself was very, very new. When you ring fence and you say that this is an amount of money that we need to be able to pay for purposes of paying pending bills, the argument was, if I invoke the fact that I have a good working relation with financial institutions and that I'm not someone who goes and takes money from this pocket to pay this other pocket, and financial institutions are ready, and they said that, you know, if you're pending bills, you have been able to commit 1 billion shillings, and I know that you can be able to pay this 1 billion shillings, allow me to advance this 1 billion shillings to those people who are. A number of you here are lawyers, and you will also agree with me that one of the biggest challenges that is there on matters of pending bills is the fact that when you don't settle a bill today, tomorrow it does not become a bill anymore. It becomes double or triple that bill. This is a county government that I've seen situations where someone has even dared to try and give us a pending bill of what it is that is being allocated to this whole county government. And there's nothing that even surprises me anymore. Having been where you are seated, I have seen situations where a pending bill, someone in the courts decided and made a decision that it is okay to actually attach, even national food reserves. And the last time that I checked is that the law does not exist in a vacuum. Whatever it is that we do, I agree with you. If you actually put that proposal, it would, for argument's sake, I'm one of those proponents, and I've said this, and I know that it is not something that might augur well with others, but I'm one of those proponents who actually feels that statutory deductions can be deducted at source. It's just that the law currently, the PFM does not allow it. But the reason I say this is because I'm currently financing taxes.
I think let's leave it there. You have said something that we have thought through, we have wanted to propose, and I'm happy it is coming from a governor.
I want to state it. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Council of Governors, Chair.
At the risk of time, I want us to come back to the numbers.
Chair, as we go back to the numbers, allow me to make this comment, especially about CHPs and UHC staff. You know, Chair, this matter came up yesterday when we were dealing with Kericho. And it came up again on the floor, and I had Senator Dulo propose something to the effect that maybe this health thing, we may have to think whether it is where it is supposed to be. You know, Governor, for you and for the other governors, and maybe even for the Senate, it's an audit query that we just have to clear and move on to other things. But for those frontline staff in the health sector, who are very, very critical, it's a matter of life and death. I think a wider conversation needs to happen about the payment for CHPs and UHC staff. And we decide as a country once and for all who takes the ultimate final responsibility over these people. And how are they going to be remunerated for the critical services that they offer?
Honorable members, those are policy conversations. Let's come to the numbers. Governor, you have said you run a very good team, which we are not in any doubt. But I was asking myself, why, who's Robert Murunga in the organization?
He's the Assistant Director of Finance.
And he was a signatory to the financial statements?
Yes.
If he's an assistant director, that means that there is a director.
Do we have a director in that? No, we don't have a substantive. You will, and I know the next question will be why. Allow me to be able to just give it up this is a county chair that we have a lot of people. There's attrition, then there's many other factors that are involved. Two, you will also agree that there's an independence of the County Public Service Board. There's been a lot of adverts that have been going out, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the adverts that have already gone out. It is the purview of the County Public Service Board to be able to fill that position.
I was happy to hear someone introduce themselves as the chair of the audit committee. I hope the internal auditor is also part of this delegation. Internal, are you substantive? Substantive or assistant? Okay, that's fine. Members, let's go to the report on the receipt of revenue. The report on the receipt of revenue indicates that Mombasa had planned to collect 6.9 billion Kenya shillings, and Mombasa only collected 4.8 billion Kenya shillings, which was a significant shortfall. And out of the 4.8 billion, 1.4 billion came from hospital fees. In our analysis, before we go to the policy issues, I think in our analysis with the Auditor General, we felt there was need for us to evaluate the performance of on-source revenue, one, against the budget, and two, to compare with prior years. The Parliamentary Budget Office did a small analysis that indicates that there are certain streams where performance is deteriorating, is going down, rather than going up, despite economic indicators. So I know there's only one qualifying matter on the receipt of revenue, which is an accounting issue, really, which I think we have agreed we won't waste too much time on, because OAG, what was the qualifying matter on the ROR?
Thank you, Chair. It was on inaccurate receivable from non-exchange transactions.
And if you describe it in English, what are you saying? Or in Swahili? Leonard, try to explain it in Swahili.
There was non-disclosure of a
that is English.
Chair, there was a non-disclosure of a significant amount, which is about 6.9 billion.
Hiyo ni pesa imeibiwa ama shida ni gani?
It's bookkeeping.
It's bookkeeping?
Yeah.
Is it a very material non-disclosure?
It is something that can be dealt with in the subsequent audit.
Can you assure the people of Mombasa that this 6.9 billion is not money lost?
No, Chair. It is not money. The amount that I've just stated was not lost.
So by not disclosing, what is the risk to the county government and to the people of Mombasa?
Chair, the financial statement should be accurate and it should be a guide to the policy users and also other stakeholders. So as a county government, it is prudent that you disclose figures where they are required.
This 6.9, you call it arrears of revenue. What do you mean? When you say arrears of revenue of 6.9 billion was not
They are unable to
connect. The county Nadai.
Nadai, yes.
So, Pengine, no, I think it's the governor who needs to tell us. This 6.9, it was not disclosed. The auditor says it's an accounting matter. It is not loss of funds. But what does it relate to? So that we don't take too much time on accounting issues.
Chair, in Kiswahili or English, because I'm seeing this session is going in both languages.
They are
from the time of municipal times. Some of these are matters that are land rate issues. Some of them are SPP issues. Is a huge, it is unfortunate, one of the things that we need to be able to work on, and it is one of a county pension fund to be able to work on, is digitizing the issues of our land records. We try to do this on our own. Unfortunately, access to Ministry of Land Record was not very, very cooperative in the sense that they did not feel that it is prudent for an outsider to come in. But the County Pension Fund, I think, has already done something similar, if I'm not mistaken, one of the other counties where they did do the digitization. So we already have an agreement with them. We have to clean our land records.
Now, Governor, you are basically doing a write-off through the back door.
No.
That is what you're doing.
No,
by not presenting them as assets, because these are assets, isn't it? Arrears are supposed to be, by excluding them, it is a write-off. What Laikipia did, and I think I like the approach they took, they went through a process.
Which is what we're doing now.
They just didn't drop them from the financial statements.
We're
there
not.
was a committee, there were some processes in line with the PFM.
Chair, maybe we're not writing off anything. There has never been a process for us to even start thinking of writing off anything. What we are simply doing is, when you have a mother title, and you're going to expect, in fact, the fact that we are still reaching these figures is something else altogether. It means that there's extra effort being put in. When you have a mother title, and that mother title gets subdivided, what happens is someone takes that and goes to the Ministry of Lands and they register it there, but there is nowhere that talks of the joint between registering at the lands and registering at the county offices. There's something else that we need to be able to work on, especially for urban areas. this is sectional titles. When a property like this, which was once one floor, and then you now make a decision to take that mother title and divide it into many sectional titles, you're losing out on this. So what you feel is actually yours is not necessarily in existence anymore. So what we are doing, when I said what we are doing, allow me just to finish, Senator. What we are doing is not writing off anything. What we are doing is cleaning off records to find out, because you will end up realizing that some of these properties, what you feel is being owed to one person, that we have to be paid by one person, in actual fact, we might end up having to be paid more by many other people, but in smaller lump sums.
Okay, Senator Maruma.
I am saying, Governor, that in your response, the reason that you've given for not disclosing is that it's a historical balance assessed as having low probability of recovery. You know, anything that you do must really be located in law or in policy. Where did you locate that, either in policy or in law? Because the reason is low probability of recovery. And I agree with the chair that you want to write off through the back door.
Let's take one more question from Senator Faki.
Chair, maybe the auditor could tell us the 6.9 billion, is it rates only, or there are other revenue streams that are affected? Number two, if going by what the governor is saying, you know, when you subdivide the land, you subdivide your piece of land, the subdivision certificate is given out by the county. So the county knows that we have subdivided plot number 1 into 100 plots. Yeah. And they have a right to go to the land registry to get particulars of the registration of the people who are being now registered to own those particular plots. Even with the sectional properties, the ratepayer will remain the owner of the building. But the law has been amended now such that even the owners of the sectional property, the flats or apartments, are able to pay rates because they are enjoying services like roads, water, sewage, and all that. They're supposed to pay for that also. So both the landowner, that the head lessee, and the lessees who are now owning the apartments are supposed to pay something to that. And I see maybe they had given a fresh contract for revenue collection. I think you'll come to that. I think those are the issues that the new provider of the service should have gone into, so that we have no revenue loss in any given financial year. At the moment, it seems that the duplication has not assisted the county in managing the revenues that are supposed to be collected from the people in Mombasa.
And before Governor responds, Auditor, there was a question on the makeup of that 6 billion. You're referring to Appendix 2, but we don't seem to, I don't know whether members you've been able to see it, because if you had a visibility on Appendix 2, we would have been able to see the breakdown. The Appendix 2 referred to. As you get the answer, Senator Gataya can go on record.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Senator Mwenda Gataya, Tharaka-Nithi member of this committee.
Okay, could you just point us to Appendix 2 so that we refer to it as a governor response?
Chair, what I can confirm is that it was affecting several revenue streams.
No, do you have Appendix 2 here? Because I've just seen an appendix with prior year issues. I've not seen the Appendix 2. It would have been very useful to see how that 6 billion was broken down. Because if there are things like silos, collection in lieu of rates, those ones we know that there are problems. But if they are just the normal rates, there has to be a process for write-off, a process for waiver before they are dropped from the financial statements. Auditor?
I can confirm we are not seized of that particular appendix, but what we verified was several revenue streams. And maybe the governor can clarify on the makeup of that.
Yeah, because the problem is that if you don't have the schedule, the governor will start describing. And this is a mathematical session. So we should spare him the pain of describing what the 6 billion entails if you had that if you had that schedule. But Governor,
Chair,
you may respond.
without any pain, 6.7 billion is actually from land rates. The rest is split into all the other. The 0.2 is split onto all the others, including business permits and the rest. There's a lot of issues that have been raised, and I don't know, because I know that they're going to be coming up in subsequent questions, like the issue of the company that we were able to put into place.
The revenue collection system.
Collection,
we can deal with it substantively when we come to that matter.
I seek your guidance. It is up to the way you will guide me, because the senator had raised it, and I wanted to just. But this is one. I want to give Amanda oath here. There is nothing like we want to do any wipe off. When we say historic and the likelihood. Again, there's also legal provisions where if something is as old as 6 years plus, two, there are some of these things that we have tried to be able to do. We even went ahead and tried to even get on board debt collectors for this. There's a lot. When you're running an institution like this, Chair, there's a lot. One of the other things that we, and I think that is going to be the only way out for us to be able to properly verify on these particular matters, is once we have the proper digitization in place. Because the digitization is going to go hand in hand with the GIS map, and it is going to now pinpoint exactly this property is here and this property is here. You will realize the last digitization that was done for these particular records was probably, so that last attempt that was done to even digitize these records was probably, was it 20 years ago? And then the way the system and technology then, the way it was, if an error was done, instead of an A, an I was put in, everything reads differently. And that is the reason why the digitization that we want to do, mapping it out and putting it together with the GIS lab to confirm and fix every single piece of title like a jigsaw puzzle. That is the only way that we can be able to sort these problems. I agree with
Governor, just wind it up so that we go to the numbers.
I agree with the senator,
some of those issues
the way
are in
he
the
said
report.
that the senator raised, he didn't raise, but he stated a statement of fact that when a subdivision is done, the county government is the one that does the issues the necessary certificates. But then now again, it is a manual process from us. Because even after you've done the subdivision in the county, it does not necessarily mean that titles have been issued already. So right now we have to do a manual process of sending our people to the Ministry of Lands, confirming what are the new titles that have been put in. Right now we're in the process. We're struggling, but we're getting there on issues of sectional properties as well.
Okay, let's go to the numbers. Let's go to the next matter. But we are exiting by giving guidance that receivables from exchange and non-exchange transactions must be fully disclosed. And I think we are agreeing here that that disclosure, that correction can only be done at the end of the subsequent financial year. Auditor General, isn't that the treatment?
Yeah, that's very correct.
And we are also saying that there should be no write-off, no waiver, without following the provisions in the Act and in regulations.
By all means.
Fine.
Chair, now that you have ruled, I think we just move on, because that's a basis for qualification, and we have been referenced to Appendix 2. That Appendix 2 is not available. So all we are doing here is just narrative. I mean, what are we saying? So you have referenced Appendix 2, which would have helped us to look at the figures and deal with real numbers.
Chair, just to add on to what Senator Ngua said, maybe we needed evidence of effort to recover this money. You know, you put up a notice, for example, of waivers. We need that in our appendices, effort to recover that money. And also we need to see the figures in terms of when the default was committed, and whether we had a task force, you know, having an effort to get this money paid. Did we write to the assembly maybe to have the waivers maybe sanctioned? All those.
Senator, I want to restate it.
Governor, just,
there are no waivers.
Just let,
why are we
order, Governor. Let
Yeah, just
let the senator just conclude.
Just evidence of that effort.
I could also give some guidance on even on how we respond on that, because I think what the auditor has cited is inaccurate receivables, actually more or less non-disclosure, isn't it? Otherwise, it would have been long outstanding revenue arrears. So let me guide so that we go to the next issue, which talks about budget versus realization, and we go stream by stream. And this conversation, I think many of the questions are going to be answered. So, Auditor, let's go to your next issue, which is budgetary control and performance. And Senator Wambua, I agree with your frustration on the absence of Appendix 2. I think we will deal with that internally.
Thank you, Chair. Budgetary control and performance. The statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects final target revenue budget and actual amounts on a comparable basis of 6,930,655,697 and Kenya shillings 4,880,829,952 respectively, resulting in under collection of 2,049,825,746, or 30% of the budget. The under collection affected the implementation of planned activities and may have impacted negatively on service delivery to the residents of Mombasa.
Okay. Usually we allow the governor to respond. I think we should do so. Read your written response, and then we will ask some questions.
Chair, the shortfall in on-source revenue was largely driven by underperformance in key revenue streams, notably land rates, SPP, market fees, fiscal planning and development, cess, conservancy, administration and property rent. Underperformance in these high-yield streams constrained cash availability and adversely affected the implementation of the planned programs and service delivery. The underperformance was further compounded by data and structural constraint, including the absence of an up-to-date business register, delayed updating of the valuation roll due to ongoing litigation, and incomplete land records, which affected revenue planning, billing accuracy, and enforcement. Amongst the corrective measures that we are currently doing, should I read this verbatim as well?
Yeah, I think just go through it.
Okay. To address the identified challenges and enhance on-source revenue performance, the county has implemented the following corrective measures. Business mapping and revenue base expansion. The county engaged a consultant to undertake a comprehensive business mapping exercise to establish an accurate database of businesses operating within the county. The intervention is expected to improve the performance of single business permits and market fees through improved identification, billing, and compliance. Digitization of our land records in light of delays in updating the valuation roll arising from ongoing litigation and incomplete land records. The county has commenced digitization of land records and property records. This process will support the timely updating of the valuation roll upon conclusion of legal process and enhance land rates administration and enforcement. Automated revenue collection system. County continues to expand and strengthen automated revenue collection system, improve revenue capture, reconciliation and reporting across major revenue streams, including land rates, parking fees, permits, and market fees. Capacity building for revenue collection officers. We have targeted trained programs training programs that have been implemented to enhance the skills and effectiveness of revenue officers in billing, enforcement, customer engagement, and use of automated system. Enhanced enforcement and compliance measures. Enforcement mechanism have been strengthened to address non-compliance, reduce leakages, and improve recovery, particularly in land rates, cess, and business permits. Improve of revenue collection centers. We have revenue collection centers are being upgraded and optimized to improve accessibility, efficiency, and service delivery, thereby supporting improved compliance and revenue performance. These measures are aimed at addressing the root causes of underperformance, strengthening revenue administration, improving on-source revenue mobilization, and enhancing budget.
The explanation, we must your financial statements, particularly where you have properly summarized your streams and their performance, because you have given global reasons for the underperformance. You are required to give specific explanation for every stream where there is an underperformance or an overperformance. I think if we look at that, it can help us to contextualize the explanation that the governor has given. So,
before we do that, maybe the governor may want to confirm that conservancy administration charges is one of the underperforming revenue streams. Because the schedule that I have is actually perhaps the one that has performed much better. There is the greatest improvement in it from the summary of the revenue streams.
I think, Chair, that this is what I had wanted to request. I think the able senator is reading from either the Parliamentary Budget Office, because that document, if I can be able to have access to the document that he's referring to.
No, let me give guidance. In your financial statements, you have the original budget, the supplementary one, and your actual. So I think we can use that as a basis. But what Senator Wambua is referring to would be comparative of prior years, which is a document that belongs to you as an organization. The only advantage he has is that it's analyzed. It's analyzed stream by stream.
That's what I'm saying, Chair.
Yeah.
If I can be able to get a copy of the document that has been analyzed, so I can also be able to.
That's in order.
Yeah.
Clerks, just share that document with the governor so that it can help us. I think it's a 3-year analysis, performance trend analysis. So Senator Wambua, could you allow me that we don't start with conservancy? Let's start with the first stream. We just go through all the streams.
That's okay, Chair.
Now that the governor has a schedule. So maybe let's start with let's start from the top, Governor. You had on cess you collected 520 million, and
this is a document that is from the Senate, and from the Parliamentary Budget Office. Am I right?
Yes, it is.
I think it would be prudent for me to be allowed to also pull out the records on my side as well.
No,
because
because
you see,
we won't have a problem. I can assure you.
No, because there's some on face value. I do not want to start immediately stating that the figures are actually wrong or right. One thing I can confirm is collectively over the years collectively, even without necessarily amending the Finance Act or adding more taxes, the county government of Mombasa has been increasing its own source revenue.
Governor, I don't know why you are jittery.
No, Chair.
I don't know what's scary.
Chair, with my permission. Governor, it's a very simple exercise. When we go through the list, and if there are any discrepancies between what the PBO has prepared and the financials, we will see where we are not unreasonable.
In fact, in your financial statements, there is a statement there on statement of comparison of budget versus actual amounts. That's on the financial statements. I
want you to confirm.
Note number 10.
That is fair enough, Chair. We can be able to
Actually, that is just,
work on it in
that is just
in that
supplementary.
direction. That's not a problem.
But we could start from your disclosure of what your budget was and what your actual was. Because there underneath, you have even given a narration to explain the variances. And we can start from there, isn't it?
By all means.
So we start from CES. So CES, you had budgeted to collect 580 million. Along the way, you thought you could collect 200 million more and revise your budget to 780 million, but you only collected 520 million. Now, the question which you can help us understand, even for the subsequent streams, what science or what maths do you use to decide that this year we shall collect 580, and along the way you do a supplementary, you revise it to 780, but only collect 520? Is budgeting scientific and procedural, or are these numbers that were sprung on you by the county assembly?
No, actually, the county assembly are not the ones who have sprung these numbers on us. We have been able to, we're the ones who present the numbers, actually.
So by the time you revise your estimates by 200 million, you have reasonable grounds to do so, isn't it?
Yes.
So when you then miss your target by 60-something%, is it that the money was collected and pocketed, or what then is the case?
Chair, you know very well that that is definitely not the case.
Please give us a better explanation than mine.
You know, Chair, I'm going through the document that now you're referring to.
Yeah, your financial statements, I think on the receipt of revenue. Get the one on R1. The receipt of revenue.
Chair, when any organization sets up and we want to be able to do our targets for revenue collection, we always aim high. Are we accused that we sometimes are over aiming high? But my belief is that when you aim for the stars, if you don't come back with a star, you will not come back with mud. You aim high so that you can be able to achieve many other things. And of course, one of the major issues CES has also dropped is because of the new road that is being built along the Bombolulu Road, and
Governor, underneath that table, you have explained, you have provided an explanation for the 66.71% realization. I don't want to torture you to think too hard. Maybe just
I take you through the explanations?
Yeah, for record purposes.
Okay.
We see whether that explanation is sufficient.
Chair, one of the things that we were able to do, the contract that Senator Faki was actually referring to that we did.
Sorry, Governor. There's an explanation there for CES in your financial statements.
Yes, which is exactly what I said. The ongoing construction of the Malindi Mombasa Road by the government. Currently, there's a road being done there, has made it very, very difficult. In fact, a number of these CES booths have to constantly be relocated. So it has been a challenge in being able to reach to these particular figures. That is only one of the reasons that we have been able to, when it comes to CES alone.
So when you revised your figures upward by 200 million, I believe in a supplementary, that road had not started being constructed.
It had already, but then the extent of where the road reached by then was not where we had anticipated. And I want to state it as well. Are we going to see a drop in figures? No. We're going to definitely see an increase in figures. The only difference is where we aimed. What the auditor basically is raising is that where we aimed, we aimed too far. Again, Chair, we did not overthink the last 3 years. We have not done any major changes on any of these CES fees that are there as well. One of the other things that is also, and I know that this is going to be a debate, and I hope it does not become...
Sorry, Governor. The reason why we asked this question is that we have discovered in other cases, Kitui was one example. When we asked this question, the governor sat back and asked himself that indeed there could be something wrong. Because, for example, Kitui is a county that has a lot of sand harvesting activities. And when the numbers were just thrown, they just look like numbers. But when you go down and you look at the revenue coming from CES, and you quantify how much a truck pays, it appeared as if they were collecting sales from 5 trucks a day. And in Kitui, the senator tells us there are almost 200, 500 trucks per day. I'd like this to be questions that you don't have to be very defensive, that would probe us, would probe some detailed inquiry, because this is a report of the receiver of revenue. The receiver of revenue has submitted it, and if you look at the explanations under that table, the explanations are not quantifiable. For example, the shortage of collections in markets, your receiver of revenue says that this may be attributed to a combination of underperformance in enforcement, temporary closure of markets due to structural upgrades or health safety issues, and possible revision of market policies affecting collection efficiency. You can't take that. If you're a business owner and your revenue is falling, your revenue collectors cannot tell you that it is possibly because of ABCD. They must quantify that in market A, we used to collect X, we collected Y, and this is the reason. That's the level of discipline that we must instill. And that's why we're asking this. And where's your receiver of revenue? You are the receiver of revenue.
Yes.
You cannot tell me if I was running a business and my revenue is falling, then you give me all these adjectives and verbs that you're putting here, that possibly due to, or probably due to. No, you can't. You can't tell me that if I was running a butchery, that my meat sales is reducing, maybe because the economy is difficult. That cannot be the reason. Maybe you are pinching meat.
Yeah.
So, Governor, the entire narrative down here is not how to run a business. Our first meeting, you told us you wanted to run Mombasa like a business. But you cannot run a business when drop in revenue is explained with probabilities and possibilities. There has to be figures. So that's why I think we need to have this conversation. It might be painful, but we must have it.
Chair, I maybe because this is a house of records and we are on camera, we did not see a drop in revenue.
No.
We did not reach
we'll
the
go
targets.
stream by stream. We'll go stream by stream.
Yeah, we did not reach the targets, but we did not see a drop in revenue. Maybe I just thought that is something that we might want to just be...
We are dealing with numbers. We shall demonstrate where the drop was.
Yeah.
Senator Ombwe.
Now, two things, Governor. And the chair has done well to cite the Kitui matter. Let's also agree that this was a learning process. You know, people learn things as they go. And you know what, Governor? If I sat where you are seated, I'll be very worried about two things. One, you project revenues and keep pushing the projections. And you budget based on the projections. But when it comes to the actual collections, you collect only 40% of the projection. That in itself first puts your books in a very bad shape. You have committed monies that you have not raised, pending bills and all that. That's one. Secondly, Governor, you say that the road construction has had a significant impact on collection of sales. And then you add that the booths are constantly relocated. And I'm wondering, are they relocated from Mombasa to Kilifi? Or are they just located within Mombasa? In which case then the same revenues will be collected, but maybe from different spots. That would be my submission, Chair.
Okay, Senator Faki.
Yeah, you know, Governor, the issue of a realistic budget is also hitting you politically. Because if you present a budget of, say we have a budget is 17 billion, yet in effect, the budget is 14 billion or so, it means that people start to conceive ideas that money is being misappropriated within the country. And if you go out there, you see some of your opponents saying that pesa inaliwa kwa county yetu. Yet, if you come to the actual figures, the amount that we are collecting is not 17 billion. If you look at some of the reasons given, for instance, property rent, 41.17% realization. The reason is that the shortfall is in property rent revenue is attributed to demolition of government housing units to pave way for the affordable housing project. This led to reduction in rentable units and consequently a decline in revenue from this stream. You see, from the year, this is the 24-25, isn't it? I didn't see any estate being demolished in Mombasa. The ones which were demolished prior to 2022. The Likoni one was done in 2020, just after COVID. Then the other estate is Mzizima, which was done more or less the same time. Changamwe is still there. So I think the issue is that you have to budget realistically. Yeah, not just throwing figures, and then at the end of the financial year, we are not able to explain how these figures were arrived at, because that's the explanation here is not plausible at all, considering that the estate in Mzizima was demolished during the previous administration, the one in Likoni, the same thing. So some of these things should be realistic. Thank you.
So just take note, then you respond, Senator Marumu.
Yeah, Chair, we must recognize that the revenues increased, from 4.4 to 4.8. That we must give to the county. But I have an issue with the overprojection, because then when you overproject our own source revenue, it's the main culprit in escalation of pending bills. Now, in my experience in this committee, is that as you are collecting revenue, and you're maybe mid-year or three-quarter year, we need to revise our projections downwards, depending on the collections. Otherwise, if you adjust upwards, and then you end up collecting less, then again our escalation of pending bills would still continue upwards. And I think what should happen is, as we audit through the year, and you look at how we are collecting, all the revenues are streaming in, then we need to adjust downwards and leave out some projects so that we have less pending bills at the end of the year. That is the advice that we give to governors, that don't again increase, adjust upwards, yet we know whatever is coming in might
being the whole subject of discussion. But one of the major revenue streams that has actually been dropped in this is the revenue stream on Mira and Mogoka. Mombasa made a very, very deliberate social judgment to actually state that the vice that Mogoka and Mira is providing to our people is a challenge. In the process of that, we went to court. I think I've never been taken to court more than that. I've been taken to court by about 9 times. We threw this to the public because only one court ruled against Mombasa, and that is the court that actually where Mogoka is from, coincidentally. So a decision was made, and we made a very, very valid decision to change the tariffs that are there. It has caused quite a number of people to be changed from where they're meant to be within the county government of Mombasa. But if we go back and say that, start reducing the figures of Mogoka and Mira from the cess, because of the roads being built and also because of the bypasses being put up and everything else, there has been this particular one. What has been happening is these traders are now waiting out of Mombasa and putting these in small vehicles, and then they come into Mombasa. Let me rephrase this, because Mira actually Mogoka was one of the largest earners on cess. But we had to make a conscious decision. And I'm stating this again, Chair, with the hope that that is not the narrative of today's whole meeting will be. That is what I was really holding back on stating one of the major, because when you look at the item, cess is totally digitized. When you look at the items, people are still using tomatoes, people are still using all the other issues that are there. One of the things that we are currently doing is we have put in an automated gate system as well on our market, where anything that goes into the market, there's going to be a reading whether that particular vehicle was able to pay for cess or not. One of the other things that we're doing is we're in the process of setting up 300 cameras, and I'm glad it had been a challenge for a while because of communication between the service provider. Kenya Power had to put in power in all these poles, but we have CCTV currently, and we're hoping we're going to be launching this by next week, which is going to have both number plate recognition, so we can be able to see which vehicle has not been able to pay cess. The CCTV is going to be linked as well to the cess collection system, so that if a vehicle has passed and it was not picked at the cess point as well, we can now be able to know. These are some of the things that we are trying to do. But when you look at the nitty-gritties, Chair, when you look at the nitty-gritties, when a projection was put into place, with the bearing in mind that the Mogoka and Mira will be this amount, and we're not receiving the amount that we're actually meant to be receiving. In fact, we were ready to forego and forfeit the whole thing. If you look at the nitty-gritties,
that may bring a lot of trouble. Just on that Mira and Mogoka.
And that's why I said I was really holding back.
Yes.
I was really holding back.
I was thinking that 24-25, by the time you're doing your projections, you'd already pronounced yourself on the issue of Mogoka in Mombasa.
Yes.
By the time you're doing these projections, I'm assuming that you're saying I've forfeited revenue stream from Muguka. So it's not part of this.
No.
As Governor says,
but the case,
Governor, let me
the
help
court
you.
case was before this budget.
Governor, let me help you. As you've said, we don't want the report to be that your revenue dropped because of Muguka.
Which, by the way, is not a problem for me. As the county government of Mombasa and as the governor of Mombasa, my conscience is extremely clear
but let's look
that
at
we
the
would
numbers.
rather not have that money.
Receiver of revenue. When you break down cess, we can see that quarrying sand, gravel, and ballast extraction fee, there's a specific amount there, 519 million. And I think that is what would have been affected by the road construction. But there's another
Are you saying
stream.
Mombasa is getting 500 million from sand?
500 million.
And Gitu is getting 4 million?
Yes. So now let's go to farm produce.
Speak to me nicely.
Because you've talked about the tomatoes and the vegetables. Receiver of revenue, what, under farm produce, horticulture, what is this? Where do you collect this from? Is it from the markets or the trucks that come to?
It is actually considered, it is the normal word that it is actually used as is cess. But the actual word should be actually drop off.
No, it's separated. It's separated here in the financial statements. And in your financial statements, you have reported 262,000, which means you're collecting 720 shillings a day. So what is this?
No, we're actually collecting way more. When it cess is being collected way more.
You have reported 720 shillings a day.
Maybe you might want to, Chair, to give me the page that which you're referring to.
The note to the financial statements that breaks down cess into farm produce, quarrying, livestock certificates, fish farming, and others. Because, Governor, if you don't ask these questions, and if you don't prod you to ask these questions, people are going to run rings around you.
Chair, if I'm not mistaken, this is for produces that are actually grown in Mombasa. We don't have any farms within the county government of Mombasa.
So you collect 720 shillings a day?
It is on average. We actually only have one area in Mombasa that does farming, and even that farming in itself is in such a minor element. And this is the area of Mwakirunge that does a bit of
Governor,
farming.
no, I think let's focus, and that's why I keep referring you to the notes, because for sand, gravel, and ballast extraction fee, that's separate, 519 million. But for farm produce, you are talked of drop-off, something like that. And we know, even in Marikiti, we know that there's a way the Kanjo levy something.
Yeah.
Or when you come with your onions or tomatoes or whatever, there is a fee that is paid. So what has been reported here of 262,000 indicates that on average you're collecting 720 shillings a day. Is that practical?
That's either, and that's why, Chair, I want to state it now here. Either that is misreporting that is there, and I will have to take responsibility with my team on that particular misreporting. Because I know
that's why we are here.
the amount of money